Stop recording. Speech off.
Hello guys, it's Beyond Sight, and I know I really told myself I'd do a schedule, but I just had to do a video today about talking about Chromebooks. Alright, so, if you don't know, I've used an Android tablet for over a year. I don't really keep up with it though, but I have used it for over a year. But there's no telling on if it'll be out of date or what. So, I'm going to be talking about Chromebooks and what would happen if I were to get one. Well, number one, I'd be looking at Chromebooks. Chromebooks is the only screen reader for Google Chrome or the Chromebook. There's a browser-based screen reader. For the browser itself called Microsurf. And yeah. So I'm gonna go over my reasons of why I would want a Chromebook. But first, let me go over some basics. Yes, it is going to be a bit harder to navigate it because of the different, keystrokes and commands and stuff. Yeah, sure, there's that learning curve for blind people, but blind people can use the Chromebook. That's why they had Chromebooks, because they do have I think they do have a magnifier too, and that's Chrome Vis for those who are visually impaired, not like with a vision impairment. But wouldn't that count me visually impaired? Probably. But no, I can see light, but a magnifier won't help me. So the best option would be Chromebooks, and there's a shortcut for that. There's a similar shortcut on Windows for NVDA, which is the free third-party screen reader that is still getting updates. Now, the reason I say that is because, you can get jobs for free, but you'd have to activate it. For NVDA, you don't have to. See, this is me coming from a Windows perspective, because I use Windows. I have been for almost 5 years now, and would I want to switch? Yeah, sure, why not? But would I use it as my everyday, computer? Would I want to go on it every day, like I do this? Like would I do the tablet, or whatever computer that I use? Probably not. There is a way that you can probably do shortcuts, but like on Windows, I just downloaded the main Discord app for Windows, but there's also the web client on Google Chrome, the web browser, and that's what I'm going to have to deal with until I find the Discord app on Android on the Google Play Store. And yes, there is a Google Play Store on the Chromebook. That is the one thing Android shares with Chrome OS, is the Play Store. Probably not all the apps, but probably not all the apps work on it, but it's worth a try. There are a few different ways you can get apps on the Chromebook. One is through an Android app called Crossover, but it's glitchy. Crossover is an app that lets you use Windows apps on a Chromebook. Then there's also Microsoft's web client, all, what was that word? Equivalent, web equivalent, web app equivalents to their, official versions. It's a good thing Microsoft provides those web client apps, because if they didn't, a person that does do this. Now, I mean, I'm not saying that you wouldn't be able to, like on Windows, you'd have a bunch of documents and you'd be able to go through them. No, you wouldn't be able to really do that on Chrome. Not really. I mean, not as far as I know. The only word processing, if you want to call it that, you'd be able to do is Google what? It wasn't files, no. Google Docs. That's it. I knew it. Google Docs is Google's equivalent to Microsoft Word. And you got, I think, the equivalent to Excel and PowerPoint. I think spreadsheets is their equivalent to Excel. No. Yeah, I think it's their. No, wait. I mean, Google Keep is their. Oh wait. Never mind. I'm not going to do a compare. I'm not going to compare Windows to Chrome, Microsoft to Google. But they do have their equivalents to the Microsoft Office suite. So does Google. Google has their equivalents to the Microsoft Office suite. There's even Android versions of the Office suite of Microsoft. I mean, Microsoft made their apps for Android. But they can't do the advanced stuff. I don't really need the advanced, to be quite honest. And if I were to be downloading anything, it would be the Android apps on Android, the Google Play Store. Because that's their equivalent to the App Store on iOS and on the Mac. I think the Mac does have the App Store, right? I believe so. The Windows Store. The Windows App Store is not. It's not a big store, not really, because Windows is mostly like the Windows operating system is mostly for desktop computers and laptops. They do have some tablets. Microsoft does. They have the Surface tablets, the Surface Pro, then they have the Surface Go. The Surface Go is more like an iPad-sized tablet-like, and it's smaller than the bigger Surface. The Surface tablet is the equivalent to Apple's iPad, basically, and Android has their equivalent to that as well. There's even the Pixelbook, which is a Chromebook, and so is the Google Slate. I think it is the Google Slate. That is a Chromebook And it's also an Android tablet. Way to go. But I wouldn't want that. I mean, you can run Chrome OS. Not Chrome OS. You could run Google Chrome on Android, but you can't run any of the apps, the web apps. Now, I've experienced the Hangouts client of Google Chrome, and it's not that bad. But I got to really get used to these web apps that they have. And yes, Google Chrome has their own web store, by the way, if you don't know. I think it's also on the Chrome OS thing as well. But I don't know. So, I've always wanted a proper or official YouTube app for Windows. But no. There is an app that came close to it, and it's called ProTube. But I decided to delete that because that is hardly accessible. The videos don't play. So, yeah, that's out of the bag. Goodbye, ProTube. They did have YouTube for Windows, but it also turned out to be a web client, basically. And get this, on a Chromebook, you can get the Android version of YouTube, the YouTube app for Android. And it's probably not that difficult to navigate on a touchscreen. And yeah, there are some Chromebooks that have a touchscreen, mind you. So you can use that as well as the keyboard. But, it's not going to have TalkBack. It's not going to have it. No, Kane was in a school one time, and I'm not really going to say because I really don't like saying this type of stuff, but he was in a school where he had to use a Chromebook. And for him, it probably was a little hard because he probably came from Windows. And Kane, in the comments, if you watch this video, please let me know if this is kind of correct. If you were coming from a Windows tablet, or not Windows tablet, Windows PC before you went to your whatever it was. But anyways, back to the video. Coming from a Windows PC, or computer, would I have to do would I really have to learn that much? Probably not, but, the only keys that are there, the way to access Chromevox with a shortcut, and I'm glad they had this, thanks Google, would be Alt-Control-Z. That would mean you'd have to press that, and on NVDA it's a similar shortcut, except you'd have to press N for NVDA. That's the only way that I can really go off of it. That's the only way I can reference it. Surely it wouldn't be that hard. But there is no caps lock key. So what do? I don't know. You hold shift down, and if you have hopefully you don't really have any initials of different places. Like if you were to type in NVDA, for example, or something that you don't really want to spell out the whole thing. You just want to do the first letters of the name, first letters of each word, like uh, OS instead of operating system, or uh, I don't know. TMNT instead of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, or whatnot. You're gonna have to hold down the shift key until all those letters are pressed. I'd have to get used to that. I mean, you can also make it look like your Windows PC is a Chromebook without installing anything. The way to do that is ignore all the other apps. Use only Google Chrome. You can't download any Android apps, so that's out of the question. You can use what is only provided on Google Chrome and whatnot. You could do like I did and put a web client of an app that you really wanted to download, but if you really can't. Now, there's a way you can have new tabs open, but why would I want to switch to a new tab when I could just maybe use like a desktop and put all the items on the screen that I really wanted to? Like, for example, I could send a shortcut to that particular app, or, I mean, there is a way you can, because on Windows, I don't know if you can do it on a Chromebook, but on Windows, you could, I think there's only up until F10, because on Windows there's F11 and F12, but on a Chromebook it's only there's only F1, F2, F3, F4, F5, F6, F7, F8, F9, and F10. There are the F keys at the top. Most of the keys from a Windows computer are still on a Chromebook, as far as I know. Except they won't have a Windows key on a Chromebook, and there's no caps lock key, and there's no F11 and F12 key. What keys are missing from a Windows computer do you know? I mean, that you would know of. Please let me know in the comments below. But the reasons I want a Chromebook: one, it's lightweight, and you don't really have to have a lot of junk on it like you would on Windows. Number two, you can use Android apps on it. That's pretty cool. Number three, you can get 16 to 32 gigabytes and not have to really worry about how much space you have. Unless, you don't want to get I can't speak. Android apps on it. But yeah, you can still download Microsoft's Android equivalent to their Windows app counterparts, like Microsoft Word, Excel, PowerPoint. What was another one? Word, PowerPoint, Excel. There is the OneDrive app. I think you could download that. I think I forgot one app, but you could still download the Microsoft apps and still make it look like you have a Windows computer of some sort. But then you got Google's equivalent to the Office suite, like Google Docs, even have Google Classroom, even have Google, yeah, the chatting apps like Google Hangouts, Google Meet, Google Voice, even Google Chat. Microsoft has a couple. Microsoft Teams, Skype, those are a couple of them. Even there's like the Discord app and YouTube, you can just download. I mean, YouTube is basically ran by Google, and you can get it on a Chromebook. So yeah, I mean, it makes perfect. What? It makes perfect sense. You can. Chromebooks are usually them people at Google, or the people that make the Chromebooks. I mean, they're Google. I mean, you can basically get Google apps on a Chromebook. So basically, Google's trying to, cash in on. I mean, I don't know, not cash in or whatever, but I mean, Microsoft has Windows. Google has the Chromebook. Although the Windows operating system can be found on multiple different multiple different laptops and desktops. I mean, Chromebooks there are a few different Chromebooks as well. Like, I don't know I think HP has one, or there's an HP branded one. I think I think there's an Acer branded one. I don't know, I mean, there's an Android, there's a Samsung branded one, I think. And then there's also, I don't think there's a Dell branded, but there's an HP one, I think. Number three, it's portable. I mean, yeah, it is portable. Like, if I ever did get a Chromebook, and if I were to go out of town somewhere, I'd be able to use that. Not that I would be going out of town, but if I did, then that would have been cool. Just choosing my phone or whatever.
Speech camera chooser. Back camera chooser. Back stop recording button. Speech off.
Good thing music doesn't play when you're recording a video. That's another thing. You could also use if there's a tablet form, or if there's like a touchscreen, you could use that. There's also like the convertible. There are basically three different kinds. The laptop, there's the laptop, then there's the tablet. I think they have a tablet form that has a keyboard, but I don't know. Then there's the convertible, where you can use it both as a laptop and a tablet. So, yeah. Good thing it doesn't run a full-on Android operating system, because, number one, the only thing Android does is of course, the Google Play Store, because it's a Google product. It's a product made by Google. I mean, what? It's a product made by Google. So, yeah, naturally it'll be, I mean, originally it didn't have the Google Play Store. Originally it was just the browser and some settings, and that was about it. all the desktop apps on the Chromebook would just lead you straight to the Chrome browser. And I don't think it can use any other browsers, but I think they do have like the Firefox app. I don't think they ever made an Internet Explorer app. I doubt it. I don't think they ever did. But anyway, the most screen readers that were ever made for like a specific operating system was Windows. They have made a multitude of they've made JAWS, NVDA, under screen reader. They had their default, which was narrator. And then they have Window Eyes. Back in 1995, they had 95 reader, which I don't know. Then they had Web Anywhere, which was a web-based screen reader that would it would run in the browser, and it doesn't require that much to download. It's not around anymore, but it used to be there. The ones that are still around, of course, are JAWS, NVDA, and Narrator, and Thunder Screen Reader is around, but it doesn't get updates. Window Eyes is around, but not really. Not really around. '95 reader is not even around anymore. There was another one, but I forgot. Then there's the Chromebooks Windows version that they made for Windows, of course, for Windows that run the Chrome browser. For the Chrome browser for Windows, there's like over 10 of them. I think Windows has had the most screen readers. Screen readers. iOS had only VoiceOver, of course. Android was a bit different. They had a few of them. They had Shine Plus, TalkBack. Even Samsung has their own, which is voice assistant. So they had a few. Not that many, but they had a few. The Mac had a couple of them, but I think it was for the browser. Then Mac has just VoiceOver again. So VoiceOver is the main screen reader across all Apple products like the iPhone, iPad, iPod Touch, Apple TV, Apple Watch, HomePod, Even some of the older iPods had voiceover. The first to introduce voiceover was actually the iPod Shuffle or whatever. But that's another story for another day. I mean, that's another topic for another day. Excuse me. It's another topic for another day. It's a topic for another day. But anyways, back to anyways, you know the Chromebook. It's like lightweight. It has a few different ports. I'm hoping it has a USB port or two, because how else would I have files on it? But then again, it is small. And there are settings. So, in fact, there is a full list. There actually is a help page if you go look on the internet. Look up Chromebox and how to use it. There are two different versions of Chromebox. One that really is out of support but can still be used, which is Chromebox Classic. And then there's the current one called Chromebox Next. And it's a lot different than Classic, although I think only a few different keys are now used for like different ways to navigate it. Like, I think the Chromebox modifier is Control and Alt, but then again, I don't know. I'd have to. Don't quote me on that. Please don't. Man, I don't even really know how to use it, really. But it is on Windows. On Windows, it is Control and Alt. But I mean, it was available for Windows and Mac as well for like the Chromebox. I mean, for like the Chrome browser. It isn't available for Android or iOS though, but then I would understand because, again, iOS and Android are touch screen based operating systems, and although iOS can also be used on a keyboard, I mean, can be used with a keyboard as well, but it was mostly introduced with a touch screen. And even back then when it was introduced, it was called iPhone OS, but then again, that's another topic for another day. But then again, I don't know why do I keep saying that. What settings would it have? I have no idea. I'd have to find out if I even had the chance. But anyways, guys, this has been a long video. Goodbye, guys.